Hello, thank you for being in a new video. This time I'm unboxing the Motorola Moto G85. Let's get started. I forgot to tell you the surname 5G because this is a device that does have support for that network. But before I go any further, let me tell you that this device is priced at 5,999 pesos. This is the introductory price. On the screen you see the reference price in dollars, so you have more or less an idea. But remember that the prices here are not the same as over there. Now yes, it seems to me that Motorola is doing an interesting job this year and in recent seasons with its launches. It competes very well, so join me in getting to know what's in the box here. Interestingly, although I didn't buy it with Telcel, it came to me with a Telcel box. I don't know why, but let's remove this I don't like. Alright, in this case we are talking about the edition that includes Motobots. There is another edition that comes with storage at a price of 699 pesos, but despite seeing that increase in storage, it does not come with Motobots. So you can choose between these two versions. Let's take it out of the box. Immediately we find the device that comes with this protection, which highlights some of its special features that I will tell you in a moment. But what strikes me most is that it uses a Sony lithium sensor, if hundreds. This is very good news. Lithium sensors are recent technology, so they take advantage of the sensor information really well. I've tried it in other devices with a good experience, then hopefully the same happens with this. Let's take it out of this packaging. And like almost all Motorola's, it comes with a case included that is already attached to the device. So here we have the cell phone. We are going to turn it on. And while it turns on, we see what else is included in the box, because I think we expect good news. And as you can see, the first thing we find are these quick information sheets, quick guide and more. Plus there is also the tool to remove the SIM card tray, but let's see what else. We find the charger that in this case is not bad. Fortunately, if it is included in the box, also here in the box, we will find its charging cable that is from USB-A to USB-C, as you can realize. But something that I find super interesting, super attractive, and that is worthy that we recognize Motorola is that they include wireless headphones in the box. As you can see, they come with their case. They are a Motovlog, and in a market where manufacturers include less and less things in the box, it is very much appreciated that Motorola not only includes charger but also includes headphones, and not only headphones but wireless headphones. The truth is excellent news, and many applause for Motorola. Right here in the box are included additional pads of different sizes, so you have a perfect fit in these headphones and ready. That's all that is included in the box. Then let me keep this and we take a closer look at the phone. I already have the device set up here in my hands, so let's take a tour of its specifications. It has a weight of 171 grams and a thickness of 7.6 millimeters. It is really a very thin and very light device, like most Motorola devices today, so it will be very comfortable to hold in your hand. Even if you use it with a case on, it doesn't get too thick, although the case it comes with is transparent and is not as nice as other devices in the series. But either way, it is appreciated that if it comes included, we will find Gorilla Glass 5 to protect this screen. So the fact that it has curved screen does not necessarily mean that it is very fragile, although obviously I'm not saying it will be an all-rounder and you can throw it away whenever you want, but at least you have a little more security that has a good level of protection. This screen has technology OLED. Its diagonal is 6.67 inches and has 120 Hz in its refresh rate, so it offers extremely smooth movements. The truth is that at this price is a really very good screen. Also, its peak brightness is 1600 nits. Also, it will offer a stereo sound with a speaker at the bottom and another speaker on top. The front camera is 32 megapixels with f2.4 aperture and fixed focus. Here you are seeing the difference between the preview and the final picture. Obviously in the preview everything looks much more overexposed and more burnt. But fortunately, if you do a good balance of light and shadow for the final picture, so the front camera seems to have a good quality. On the back we find 50 megapixel main camera with f1.8 aperture and optical stabilization, and 8 megapixel ultra wide camera with f2.2 f2.2 aperture and autofocus, so it also serves as a macro camera, a photographic system that I think in the range competes very well, especially because it integrates ultra-wide camera and also has the macro camera function, unlike other macro cameras of other devices that are much uglier and simpler. Here we are seeing some examples. The ultra-wide camera, I think it has a very good quality. In fact, the colors are slightly more saturated than the account, but it gives a very intense touch to the photograph and comes out quite well. Now you are seeing the photo with the main camera that, as I said, integrates the sensor Sony Lithia 600, and the photograph comes out with very good quality, but the highlight of using this sensor will come at the time of zooming. Observe that in the Zoom 2 Equis we will still find a good quality and a good level of detail. Subsequently, you are looking at the Zoom 4Xs and you still notice a good picture. It is not highly remarkable and it doesn't look zoom-optic, but it looks very good. And finally, the Zoom 10Xs, which I think again gives us a good quality without looking zoom-optic. But unlike other devices with digital zoom, but if you compare it with the digital zoom of other devices, I think it is of very good quality. Now you are looking at a picture with the main camera applying Zoom 2Xs on a small object to more or less simulate a photograph macro. And this is the result you would achieve with the macro mode of the ultra-wide camera. The focus is a little more punctual, so it could be useful in very small objects, but with little relief to have better results in the review. We will do a more complete analysis, but it looks like a good camera. Now you are seeing a portrait photograph. I think the colors again are a little more saturated than usual, but speaking specifically of the edge detection, does a good job. Observes that if it keeps focused on objects. For video recording in this case, we will not find support for 4Cam, so there is only the possibility of recording in full HD, both in the back and in the front. In this sense, I think it does not disappoint, although if there is any other device with that capacity, the battery is 5000 mAh and supports 30 watts load, although the charger included in the box is 33 watts. What we must emphasize here is that the battery has good capacity and the device is still super thin and slim, so in this model they do not make that sacrifice, unlike other Motorola models that also have a slim design, but that bet on a super slim and slim design. To highlight here is that the battery has good capacity and the device is still super slim and thin. So in this model, do not make that sacrifice, unlike other Motorola models that also have a slim design, but bet on a smaller battery anyway. In the review, we will do a more detailed test because the capacity sometimes misleads as to the actual autonomy of the device, so expect a full review. This device also incorporates an optical fingerprint reader inside the screen. May not respond as fast as capacitive readers that are outside the screen, but they give an attractive and much more modern touch to the devices. In this case, we will find Android 14 as operating system with some additions of Motorola as their control gestures and even new applications such as Family Space, Moto Secure, Smart Connect and several additional options. So unlike past years where Motorola had a too simple software, in this case still maintains its simple and minimalist aesthetic, but increasingly has more options that are useful to the user. It has more and more options that are useful to the user. It has 8 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage just turned on. It showed me 19 gigabytes used. I think it is not too much space used. So it is good news. Also, I remind you that there is the version of 512 gigabyte storage as a more expensive version. And finally, the processor is the Snapdragon 6 is the Gen 3A processor that we have not tested, so it will be the first time we will test it, but to have more or less an initial perspective, we ran some benchmarks, and these are the results. In a single core gave us 936 points, and in multi-core 2115 points. I, according to figures we have from past years, would have a very similar performance to the Snapdragon 695, which obviously is not an ultra-powerful processor, but we must remember that this device is not the most expensive, is not going to be the most powerful processor in the range, but for a good number of users, I think it will have enough power for everyday tasks. If you are a person who is going to focus on games, you can find other options in Antutu. For example, gave us 401,119 points. Definitely not something so advanced in terms of graphics performance for the moment. We have reached the end of this video. Remember that soon we will have available the full review for a more in-depth analysis. I hope you liked it, and we see you next time.